Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. I tell you what, folks, I've been watching General Hospital for years, and lately the story with Cassius has me glued to the screen every single afternoon. That man's mask is slipping bad, and it's getting harder for him to hide who he really is. I remember shaking my head when Britt warned him straight up to stay away from Joss. But did he listen? Nope. Cassius thought he was slick, kept playing his little game, and now he's paying the price. Josselyn started putting the pieces together, and before you know it, he snatched her up and locked her away. That poor girl's curiosity nearly cost her everything. While she was trapped there, scared, and thinking this might be the end, she started seeing some ugly truths she never wanted to know. My heart just ached for her. Then, when Carly found out her daughter had been taken, she did what any mama bear would do. She called on Jason. Lord, that woman stays dragging Jason into her mess, but that man's got a heart of gold. He's the kind who'll drop everything and come running when family needs him. I respect that about him. The other day on the show, I was on the edge of my seat when Nathan showed up at Joss's apartment. She figured he was just there for their usual workout, nothing serious. But the second she tried to leave for a run, he grabbed her wrist tight. Whew, the tension was thick. That's when you could see the real Cassius Faison starting to drop the act. He wasn't playing nice anymore. Joss hit him with some real memories, and his whole Nathan disguise started cracking wide open. Now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He can keep pretending and risk getting caught, or he can try to sweet talk his way out of it. But Joss isn't stupid. She's got every reason to question him, and the pressure's only getting worse. I swear, I don't know how this is going to end, but I'm hooked. It feels so real, like watching your own neighbor's drama unfold right in front of you. I tell you what, watching Cassius try to hold his whole fake story together was like seeing a man walking on thin ice. He was sweating, thinking fast, but the cracks just kept showing up bigger and bigger. He never figured Joss was some dumb college girl who wouldn't notice anything. Boy, was he wrong about that. That girl's sharp as a tack. She started tossing out these little details that the real Nathan would have remembered in his sleep. Things any normal person would just know without even thinking. But Cassius, he'd freeze for a second, scramble to fill in the blanks, and pray it sounded right. You could see the panic in his eyes. One minute, Joss brings up something from his past with Maxie, those sweet, private little moments that only a real boyfriend would carry in his heart, and instead of smiling with warm memories, he's sitting there trying to remember the story like he's reading it from a script. That hesitation gave him away every single time. It wasn't just one slip, it was a whole bunch of them piling up. Pretending to be somebody else ain't just about wearing the right face and saying the right lines. It's the tiny everyday things, the memories, the feelings, the stuff you're supposed to know deep down without anybody reminding you. Cassius didn't have any of that real history inside him. The second Joss pushed just a little, asking about things that should have been second nature, the whole mask started cracking wide open. I was sitting there on my couch thinking, Lord, this boy's in trouble now. Britt had warned him clear as day. She told him flat out to stay far away from Joss, keep his distance, and not give that girl even the smallest chance to start digging. Britt knew exactly what kind of mess this could turn into. But Cassius, being stubborn as a mule, went and did the complete opposite. He put himself right in front of Joss, acting like everything was normal, like he could keep control of the situation. That one bad choice turned something he might have kept quiet into a real dangerous game. Now every conversation feels like it's one wrong word away from blowing everything sky high. I swear, my stomach was in knots watching it all unfold. It makes you think about how one lie can snowball so fast. You start with a little pretending, and before you know it, you're trapped in a corner with no easy way out. Joss has got him cornered with real memories, and Cassius is running out of excuses. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife, and I can't wait to see what happens next. This kind of story always gets me right in the feels, because it reminds you how fragile secrets really are when somebody starts asking the right questions. I tell you what, folks, that final move Cassius made wasn't part of any smart plan he had sitting in the back of his mind. It just exploded out of him like a kettle boiling over. 1 second, everything was still sort of under control, and the next he reached out and grabbed Joss tight by the wrist. Lord have mercy. When that happened, the whole pretending game came crashing down hard. No more dancing around her questions, no more trying to slip away with some clever words. He stepped right up and physically stopped her from walking out that door. You could see it in his eyes. The mask wasn't just slipping anymore. It had fallen clean off. That wasn't Nathan at all. The real Nathan would have smiled that easy smile, maybe teased her a little, and let her go for a run without a second thought. But this was raw, impulsive, and downright scary. It was pure Cassius reacting on instinct. And in that moment, he showed everybody watching that he wasn't in control anymore. My old heart was pounding like a drum while I sat there in my chair. I kept thinking, son, you just crossed a line you can't uncross. And then he said those words that sent chills down my spine. It's too late. He didn't say it like he was guessing or hoping. No, sir. He said it like a man who already knew the truth. He knew Joss wasn't just some curious college girl poking around. He knew she was connected to the WSB, knew she was getting too close to blowing his whole cover wide open. Instead of backing off and trying to disappear like Britt warned him, he chose to charge forward. That single decision flipped a switch. The careful cat and mouse game they'd been playing ended right there, and it felt like the real battle had just begun. Messy, dangerous, and with no rules left. Now poor Cassius is standing at a fork in the road with two ugly paths staring him in the face, and neither one looks like it ends well. He could drop the whole Nathan act completely, stop pretending, and let the real Cassius, the colder, meaner version, come out full force. But I'm telling you, from what I've seen so far, that side of him scares me. It feels darker, more calculated, and a whole lot more dangerous than anything we've watched up to now. Or he could double down, dig his heels in real deep, and try to sweet-talk Joss with some story so convincing it buys him more time. Keep selling her lies, keep playing the part just a little longer, hoping she buys it. But here's the honest truth. He's gone way too far down this road to ever turn back to normal. There's no quietly slipping back into the shadows anymore. Every choice he makes from here on out carries heavy weight. If he keeps reacting with his gut instead of using his head, if he keeps grabbing wrists and saying things like, it's too late without thinking, this whole situation is going to explode and get a whole lot uglier before it has any chance of getting better. We're talking real danger now, the kind that leaves people hurt or worse. I'll be honest with you, watching all this unfold has me worried sick for Joss. That sweet girl has already been through so much in her young life. She doesn't deserve to be trapped in some madman's web just because she started asking the right questions. My wife and I were talking about it yesterday, shaking our heads and saying how these soap stories sometimes feel too close to real life. One bad decision, one moment of losing control, and suddenly everything you built comes tumbling down. I keep hoping Jason gets there in time, that Carly's call brings him back fast enough to protect his family. But until then, I'm sitting here every afternoon, coffee cream-nodding, saying a little prayer for that girl, and wondering how much more Cassius is willing to break before this story finally reaches its breaking point. These Port Charles folks sure know how to keep an old man's blood pressure up, don't they? Whatever happens next, I'll be right here watching, heart in my throat, because this one feels personal.